Welcome back to the Science of Turning Back Time, the show where we explore what it really takes to transform your health, your mindset, and your life. I'm Charmaine Shepherd, and today I'm joined by someone in the physical body, which is quite unusual for this, who truly embodies resilience, persistence, and growth. Davie is an elite high-performance coach who has worked with some of the country's top professionals, CEOs, senior executive business owners, helping them break through barriers and achieve their personal and professional goals. And he's also the founder of DMC Fitness, one of Scotland's most successful private health and fitness training facilities. But what makes Davie's story so powerful is that he's been where many of us have been, at rock bottom, facing struggles with health, confidence, and self-belief. And he didn't just rebuild his mind, his business, and his mission. Today, we'll be diving into his personal journey, how he helps high performers achieve lasting change, and the emotional and mental foundations behind true transformation. Davie, it's an absolute pleasure to have you here, and thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
So, tell us a little bit about your story and how you got to where you are today.
The story begins, I suppose, in struggle, violence. I had quite a challenging upbringing. From the ACE score, I scored 5. So, life was quite challenging at the start, and through my kind of teenage years, I migrated towards kind of the same types of people that I believed myself to be, or what I was forced to believe that I was, which was kind of stupid. And also, I was just a kind of troubled teenager, so then non-educated delinquent. I fell into that group, and then from there, kind of fell into alcoholism and drug taking and crime and getting into trouble and all those types of things that come with it. And then I ran away to the army because I was going to court. I lied on the forms to get into the army. The army kind of kept me out of the jail. And then from there, my army career was okay for the kind of first 3.5 years. And then I ended up overweight. I had to leave the army because I was overweight. And from there, I got involved in fitness. So that went from kind of the ages of 12 right through to 27 there. I had a period of time in the military. I kind of messed that up. I went through a cycle of always kind of destroying things that were good in my life. And then I left the army. I had to leave because I was overweight. I was 27, didn't really have much direction, and decided to do some martial arts training. From there, I got into personal development, and then it spiraled. And for the last 20 years, I've been helping people challenge themselves, helping people to understand themselves better, and helping people how to kind of move better, feel better, live better, and also learn about themselves. So there's like a 20-year span in that short space of time, and they're kind of bullet points. So that's where I came from. And I got to, I suppose, where I am just now through learning about personal development, learning about fitness, and getting involved in coaching, joining communities, and reading lots of books, and challenging myself, challenging behaviours, looking at myself, becoming more self-aware, having to kind of face up to the patterns of behaviour that I had that were really disruptive, and also unravel those to be able to understand, to heal, to kind of transform through my own stuff, and at the same time learning how to be able to communicate some of those lessons in a way where other people then could help themselves or come on a similar journey. Like everybody's on their own journey. I'm on a journey for healing. It's the situation that I find myself, or the space that I find myself in just now. I'm going to learn more about me, learn more about healing, learn more about the process of becoming a better version of yourself, and at the same time inspire other people to do the same.
That's a very, very powerful story. And one of the things you mentioned right at the start is you said you had an ACE score of 5.
Yep.
So the ACEs, just for our listeners who might not be aware of what that is adverse childhood events and experience. And what we know, the research out there in the science shows that the higher that score, the more people struggle, not just with mental health, but physical health as well.
Yep.
So your ACE score has been linked to poorer physical health as well. And that's very much because I think our mental health very much or leads what we do in our physical life and how we look after ourselves, right?
Yep.
It's a really powerful story of being able to transform from, and heal from that kind of situation to where you are now.
Yep.
What are the kind of key things you think that helped you in that process of transformation?
At the core of it would be education. Like learning, reading. So if we're in a space of, if we're talking about the space of healing, Dr. Gabor Mate and the psychiatrist Bessel van der Kolk, who wrote The Body Keeps the Score, and Dr. Gabor Mate, who wrote The Myth of Normal and also many other books, but The Myth of Normal and in the Realm of Hungry Ghosts are probably two of the most impactful books from Dr. Mate. And then The Body Keeps the Score from the psychiatrist Bessel van der Kolk have helped me to understand in that space, if we're going to kind of stay in the kind of space of like learning how to heal and learning about the healing journey, learning from those individuals and then applying some of the advice and techniques like from there to do with body work for the kind of Body Keeps the Score, and personally like applying the lessons from there, but also using their advice and using the education from it as a way of being able to navigate, to start to explore that space for the fitness transformation. At the beginning, it was probably to prove people wrong. I was trying to prove people wrong initially to prove myself right. And then over time, I think that changes. And as you're developing yourself and you're learning more about yourself and you're applying, like you're learning about fitness, or you're learning about being healthier, and you're applying the techniques, and you develop a level of consistency because you keep going back after failing, or you keep wanting to get better, and you keep applying yourself. You learn through that process. And I suppose that you asked the question, I said education. I think education is the key. Education not just from learning from books, but education from applying yourself. Education from assessing yourself, from watching what you're doing, from maybe investing in coaching and like doing bits, some therapeutic work, self-assessment, self-education, self-growth.
Absolutely, yeah.
Applying change. We talk about transformation, not to segue too much, but behaviour change. Like behaviours, like a lot of us are aware of things that we're doing that maybe we don't want to do or we know we shouldn't be doing. And then it's trying to then break that pattern or put something else in place that allows you to move away from that either space that you're in or that version of yourself and slowly navigate into becoming a newer, more empowered version of yourself, using personal growth, using personal development, using fitness training, using health training, using any of those modalities to help kind of create a scaffolding around yourself to be able to hold you up when you're trying to navigate change and you're trying to move.
Yeah, absolutely. It is interesting because knowledge is a massive part of this. You kind of need to understand yourself and you need to know what it is that you need to do. And then there's that element that you've touched on as well, is that psychology of behavior, because for a lot of people, they know what they need to do, but implementing it or making that change is quite difficult. And you use the word consistency. I think you are the prime example of someone who has incredible discipline. We were talking before this call a little bit about your schedule.
Yep.
So that discipline is really, really important. But how do you foster that? How do you develop that? How do you, for somebody who's sitting there thinking, okay, I know what I need to be doing, but somehow I just can't get myself to do it. What would be your kind of advice?
Well, first and foremost, I totally get like that, not being able to move or feeling stuck, because I've been in, like, and I'm constantly in that space anyway. I feel like I'm always in that space. Like, of how do you get yourself to move away from situations like that? So start small. Start small. Like, so the individual that's maybe kind of carrying a lot of weight and wants to get fitter and get healthier, like, start small, start walking. Just commit to walking 10 minutes a day.
Break it down into
Something that's
smaller.
just that you can implement straight away. What could you do? What could you do right now? Sit down and write down the 3 things that you know you shouldn't be doing
Yeah.
a lot of, and like, okay, so what's one thing that I could do differently to counter that, or what's 2 things that I could do, or what's one commitment that I can make right now that's small enough for me to be able to do it. But if I was to do it like consistently every day, every other day, or build my days up, then you start to get some activation energy. And when you get activation energy, then momentum comes. But the bit between, from like the starting point to getting the activation energy, is a bit of a dance. And it's a dance between kind of trying to motivate yourself, or trying to and get yourself to move and get yourself to do something different. But if you make it too big and you make it too complicated, or you make it too complex, then you're creating barriers to entry straight away. It's like, what can we do to make this as easy as possible to just start to facilitate change? And then through that, you're going to get it right, and then you're going to get it wrong, and you're going to get it right, and you're going to get it wrong, and you're going to get it wrong, and you're going to get it wrong, and you're going to have to step back and assess and look at it and look at you and see what could you do better, what were you doing right, what were you maybe doing wrong. And then you apply again, and you apply again, and you before you know it, over time, it all links together. Consistency comes, and then you're inconsistency, and then you're out of consistency, and then there's a dance, and there's a dance between consistency and inconsistency, and then over time and effort and practice, and also wanting to do something. I think, like, for people that want to change, you have to want to do it, and you have to be. The whole motivation thing's about you can't always be motivated, but you can always make yourself make a bit of progress.
Yeah, that's interesting. So the motivation may not always be there, but you can still take action.
Yeah, you can still do something.
Rather than waiting for that motivation to come, right?
Yeah, do something. Do something that facilitates change. If something's really important to you and you want to change it and you want to do it, and you're getting up and you're maybe getting annoyed with yourself, or you're in a situation that you want to foster change, then make a commitment to doing something and then do it. Like, move away from the situation that you're in and make it small enough so that you can just get it done, and then start to practice. I think practice as well. Like, practicing things, having the ability, and also being okay with not being good at it at the beginning. Giving yourself some space to be okay with the fact that you're maybe not very good at something at the start, and allow yourself time to be able to develop a skill set while practicing, while trying to move away from, and also move towards this kind of newer version of yourself, or new behaviour that you want, or new habit that you want to develop. Like, the habit thing, I think, really important for consistency. But if you want to find out about habit, then Charles Duhigg has a really good book called The Power of Habit, which kind of helps you understand where habits come from, the history of them, how they're developed in your brain. But also James Clear has an amazing multi-award-winning Amazon's Best over the years, a book called Atomic Habits.
Atomic Habits, yeah.
Which is it's like a manual. It's like the instruction manual for how to develop habits in your brain and in your life. So that we were talking about consistency, and I've come away into the kind of habit, but how do you build consistency? How do you be disciplined? It's interesting you're saying that I'm really disciplined. I don't really see myself as being hyper-disciplined, although I do apply it. But I also know that there's certain things that have to be done every day, and if I don't do them, then I'm going to be in a space I don't really want to be in. So then I choose to do the things that I know I need to do consistently every day, because it's easier for me to manage that than it is for me to manage being inconsistent.
Can you expand on that a little bit? What are your things that you kind of feel are important for you on a day-to-day basis?
So I've quite a routine, so I have a morning routine when I get up and exercise every day. So I love exercise. Exercise has given me everything that I've got in my life at the moment, today, including my family, my friends, my purpose, all these things. So it's the thing that I love the most. And it's the thing that I enjoy practicing the most. So I do that first thing in the morning. When I get up in the morning every day, I get up, I drink water, I take my supplements, and I go and do some form of exercise. It's not always hardcore, it's not always high intensity, it's some form of movement. And I practice my movement, and then I have a healthy meal post-training, I make sure I'm hydrated, and then I'm into my day, and my coaching day. Then out my coaching day, I have a kind of later on routine. I break my day into 3 parts. I've got my morning routine, I've got my kind of coaching stroke business day, and then I've got my nighttime routine.
Mm-hmm.
And within those sections, there's a to-do list or a done list. I prefer having a done list where I've got a list of jobs, tasks, actions that need to be done. They get ticked off every day.
It sounds quite disciplined to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, Davie, tell us what time you get up in the mornings.
Between 2 and 3 o'clock most days.
It's discipline, right?
But my day starts at 5. My gym, I open my gym in the morning. My clients come in. My first clients are on the gym floor at 5 o'clock, starting with me at half 5. So then the gym gets open at 4:45. So and then I live half an hour from the gym. So then that's 4:15, and then I've got my dogs. So then I need to get a workout in before then as well, and also get myself ready. Like, I need to be the best version of myself when I go to the gym, to in front of my clients. In order to do that, I have to exercise. So exercise is a springboard. So like my routine, my day starts early, but then most people maybe stay up till 10, 11 o'clock. I'm in my bed 5, 7, 8 o'clock.
But I would call that discipline.
Yeah.
I would call that discipline. And you made it, we were talking about discipline before we went on the call.
Yep.
And you said discipline is freedom.
But there's an army commander from the Navy SEALs who's quite a well-known personality online. I used to be in the army. I was in the army for 7 years. So there is a soldier part of me that probably fits into the discipline bit, and that's where a lot of that maybe personality trait of mine comes from, because I was in the army, and they make you be very, very disciplined. There's a guy called Jocko Winnick, who's an American podcaster, and he's an ex-Navy SEAL commander, and it's his saying. He wrote the book Extreme Ownership, and I like listening to him. I like his message. And he says discipline equals freedom, and it's more so the freedom to be able to choose. No, you have to be super disciplined and you have to be in this rigid routine. I know that routine worked for me. The reason that I know is because I fucked it up, excuse my language, like many times. Most of the stuff that I'm really good at came out of the fact that I wasn't good at it and I was trying to be better at it and I was getting it wrong. And I was able to assess myself and then just navigate forward. But discipline does equal freedom, I feel, for me in this space, and this journey that I'm on and where I'm at. It works for me, so I'm going to do more of it because it keeps me in a better space. It helps me to perform better, having that routine and having that kind of structure. But that's just because I want to manage me better so that I can perform better and give myself less of a hard time for getting it wrong. Like, that might not work for just because it works for me. I've just found whatever works for me. And I think with that, people need to just try stuff. You need to try and find out what works for you. And then when you do find things that work for you, do more of them. Especially if it feels in alignment and if it feels right and you're connected to it. It makes you feel better or it makes you perform better. For me, performance is really important. I want to drive myself forward. I want to be a better person. I want to show up correctly. I want to help people. I want to be a good role model for my kids. I don't want them seeing an alcoholic dad. I grew up with an alcoholic, violent dad. Like, I don't want my children being put up in that environment, so I have a responsibility not to be that version of myself that I picked up from him, that I lived for a long time. Like, so I don't want to be that. So if I don't want to be that, because that's going to make me regret and be ashamed of myself and my actions, then I have to live over here doing this, and this. And I understand that that's really important. for me to perform in a way where I'm happy with myself, I'm happy with my performance, and I like how I show up, then that needs to get done. So then I don't have a choice. There's no choice. That gets done in order for me to be able to be a version of myself that I can be semi-content with.
I really, really, really love that. And I think very often, I mean, what we know about kind of generational trauma is that often when people do grow up in situations like that, they typically go on to just repeat what their parents said.
Which I did for a long time.
And being able to actively break that cycle and move away from it takes a lot of work.
Yep.
But like you say, it's so rewarding because you can create a version of yourself that you feel so much happier with.
Yeah, but more congruent. Like I've been incongruent in the past. I've been incongruent. I'll be honest. I've been incongruent with my message. I've struggled. I've had so many issues. And again, I'm not going to trauma vomit because that's not my style. But complex PTSD brings so many different issues. And my routine helps me to manage those problems that I have, those challenges that come with it. I spent a lot of time in therapy. I've spent a lot of time assessing myself. I spent a lot of time trying to wrestle and deal with the shame and the guilt. Because hurt people. There's stuff that I'm sure everybody has stuff that they regret. Everybody has stuff they're embarrassed about. Everybody has, especially men have kind of lots of unprocessed shame. How we manage that, how we process that, what we do in order for us to be able to show up correctly in our own space has to be nurtured, and that for me comes through the routine, comes through the discipline, but also the intergenerational stuff that you were talking about, the problems that we pick up from our parents. Yeah, I was talking to my children about this not that long ago. We are trying to heal. We're healing. I'm healing, but I'm also trying to parent as well. But I'm also trying to unravel some of the subconscious learning and the genetic dysfunction that I picked up at the same time. And to manage that and to juggle that, and also trying to be a parent when you don't have didn't really have any good positive role model from that. You're trying to navigate that space.
But what a great gift for your children, though, right? To be able to
have that conversation.
Absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I know that you haven't always been in love with exercise.
No, I was quite overweight and out of shape. I've been overweight and out of shape a few times in the last kind of 20 years. Kind of lost that, yeah. So I've not always had a beautiful relationship with myself in that space. But and I wasn't always fit and I wasn't always healthy. And I've had kind of my own kind of weight issues, problems, body dysmorphia, food challenges. I've had those types of challenges that you learn how to manage. But now I've not always been athletic, and I've not always been there.
And I know, if you're okay to talk about this, I know in 2014 you had quite a significant setback.
Yeah, both my parents died 6 weeks apart, which really knocked me back. And I kind of reverted to type, I was drinking way too much alcohol at the time, put on lots of weight, put on about 5 stone over a 6-month period, and felt pretty ashamed of the person that I was looking at in the mirror at that time. But it was the way that I coped. The coping mechanism for me was to hide. When the grief can be such a destructive emotion. And I went to see, I hadn't spoken to my parents. I hadn't spoken to my dad for years, but I went to see him before he died, just to say goodbye and also to try and kind of make peace. For both of us, not just, I didn't really want to carry that, not going. I didn't want to carry that, the what if or the regret. So off the back of that, I kind of spiraled out of control for quite a while. And then one day I had to go and just look at myself in the mirror and say, right, enough's enough. You need to rebuild this. You need to start again. And you need to take everything that you've learned up until now and you need to apply it to yourself. And you need to make sure you never ever end up here again, or you need to do as much as you possibly can to create that scaffolding around yourself to protect yourself as best you can, so that you don't have to be in this space of the shame and the guilt. And like, it was pretty low. It was quite a horrible time. But also looking back was probably one of the most important things to happen to me in the last 10 years, for change, for the positivity that came out of the other side of it, and also the learning that came from it. So as much as it was really horrible, as life can be, like life will kick you in the dick sometime, won't it?
Yeah.
You know, or just, sorry, life will kick you. You know, it'll kick you. Aye, and I think everybody might struggle, everybody faces struggle, everybody faces the harder stuff in life. And yeah, it was quite a tough time for me then.
I think it's about being able to, life is often going to throw these things at you, but it is about being able to kind of come back from it and bounce back from it, which is exactly what you did. In your experience, what are the biggest kind of mindset blocks that stop people from making change and achieving lasting change? We're not just talking about, I'm going to join the gym, I'm going to get fit, and then you get started and then you just don't, it fizzles out. What would you say are the biggest kind of blocks that are going to stop people from being able to make lasting, sustainable change?
It's quite a big question.
Sorry, I should have given you the questions before.
No, it's a good question, Drew. So, I've been a professional coach since 2005, and I've been a kind of more higher-end executive coach since 2016. Towards the end of 2016, so that's 8 years of working with some really, really driven and really switched on, and but also quite challenged individuals with how they manage their time and how they manage stress and how they manage their commitments. And I've coached a lot of different people and I've met a lot of different people. What's the thing that holds people back the most? Is it a lack of self-belief? I think, or being stuck in fear. Is it self-belief or fear? I can only really speak from my own experience and the learnings that I've had. What stops people the most?
A lot of times people kind of know they need to make change. They know they need to do it. And there's just something about being able to translate that into sustainable change.
I think
purpose.
I think purpose. I know somebody very close to me who I have the utmost love and respect for, who's lost a lot of weight, and their purpose. I didn't know their purpose. And when I say a lot of weight, I'm talking about like 7 stone.
Wow.
You know, from a 40-year-old busy person. And that was facilitated in the space of about 2.5 years. And that's a big thing. That's a big thing to be able to do, to come out the 20, 23, 24 stone mark and bring yourself down to the kind of mid 15, 16 stone space and purpose. What was the most important thing, or what's the most important thing that I see with people who succeed? Right, let's flip it, right, because I'm struggling to answer the question of what's lacking in people.
Okay.
What if we then flip that to what is it that helps people succeed? As a strong purpose. And not just a goal, but a purpose. Okay, so why are we doing this? Why have we got involved in this? What is it we're doing? And if we can put some fun into that space, if we can make it about making progress and about understanding that progress is good and that we're moving away from the version of ourselves or the situation that we find ourselves in that's disempowering and we're not enjoying, and setting ourselves targets and assessing the performance and getting to the target and then doing some form of celebration and setting another target and setting another small target and gradually stoning yourself away from, and then recognising that growth and then saying, right, okay, so we don't have to be that version of ourselves anymore, and we can self-assess and we can use some level of self-discipline, because even getting yourself out of your bed in the morning is self-discipline. Brushing your teeth is self-discipline. Like getting up and in that habit, and like, getting up and having a shower. Like people have a shower in the morning because they don't want to smell beside their colleagues. Like that's discipline. Because you could just get up and not shower. You could get up and not brush your teeth. You could get, so people do have personality traits that they already need. I think sometimes just directing that energy and aligning it with a purpose and a strong goal, and then recognising that you can make change, and then encouraging yourself to keep making change and to keep going, to keep pushing forward, makes it so much more kind of you're pulling towards rather than pushing away from.
I like that because
because this is all on the spot.
I know, but actually that's really, really helpful, because for a lot of my patients, the decision to change often comes from fear.
Yeah.
Like they come in, they get their labs, and they're like, listen, if you don't do something, you're going to be diabetic in 2 years from now. You're going to be, so often that it comes from a place of fear. But you're absolutely right that the change is probably more lasting and consistent when it comes from a place of that positively wanting to move towards something. So having some purpose.
Yeah.
And, why does it matter to you 5 years down the line what your health is going to be like, or 10 years down the line? Like for you, why does this matter? Like, if I look at all the things you do for health, right?
Yep.
Your fitness, your nutrition, all of this stuff. Why are you doing it?
Because I know what it feels like to be the version of me that doesn't do it, and I don't like him.
Okay.
I'm going to swear there. I don't
you
want
can
to swear.
swear.
No, don't tell me I can swear.
You can
don't
swear.
Tell me I'm not.
That's okay. We have a completely adult.
I know, but it's just. But again, I'm working on that, right? Because I do swear quite a bit when I'm speaking. I don't really want to, because I'd rather just be able to communicate normally without. So don't
it adds a little bit of flavour. It's okay.
So I do know. I know what it's like to be the dicky version of me, right? I do, right? And then people go, "Oh, that's quite extreme." Or people might say, "Oh, he's too hard on himself." I get it. I spent years being really, 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 really hard on myself. I'm not hard on myself anymore. I just know what it's like to be the version of Davie that I don't want to be.
Okay.
Right? And I don't want to be that version of myself, because I don't like how it makes me feel. So because of that, because I know what it feels like, and I don't want to be that, I've got this routine and I've got this structure in my life that allows me to be this version of myself.
But do you have a long-term vision?
Sorry, you asked me why. You asked me why am I doing it all? Right?
Yeah.
Okay, because I want to feel better about myself, but also I want my kids. So I've got kids. I've got 2 teenage boys. And they're into their fitness and they're into their rugby, and they're teenage boys. Right? So they come like what teenage boys come with. But I'm really proud of both of them, and they're amazing, and they try hard. And they struggle like everybody else does. And hopefully they have children, right? Whatever relationship they end up in, whoever they become when they're older, but hopefully they have children, right? And I want to be able to go to the gym with my grandkids. And I want to be in the gym with my grandkids and my sons, still holding my own.
Okay, so you've got a long-term vision.
I still want to be fit. I still want to be fit and healthy. I also still want to be a coach. Somebody asked me about retirement. Like, I'm 48. I don't have any intention in retiring. I'm going to be the 70-year-old coach that the 50-year-old coaches, the 50-year-old clients are desperate to work with, because my 90-year-old clients are so good.
See, there you go. You have got a long-term vision.
I know where I want to go with this. Yeah. But I also have a responsibility. Okay, so I now have a responsibility to myself, and I have a responsibility to the version of me that I want to show up in the world, and I've not always been congruent with that. I've not always been okay with it. So,
isn't that part of being human?
Yeah. It's like learning how to, I think, being okay with yourself, learning how to accept yourself a bit more. I mean, that's a wrestle, it's a struggle. It's a wrestle that I have. I was talking to a good male friend of mine yesterday about that, about dealing with how you wrestle with yourself, and how you manage yourself, and how you manage kind of the conversation and the struggle, the struggle with self. Like I think everybody, if they're honest, they struggle with themselves. And I've been fit and been active and reading and educating myself and doing all these things that I do allows me to have a better kind of what I believe to be a higher quality of life. I really enjoy that structure, and I enjoy how it makes me feel, and I enjoy how I show up. So then I want to do more of it. But I'm also fully aware that if I don't do it, there'll be a price to pay.
Yeah.
There'll be a price to pay, and I've paid that price so many times in the past. I don't want to
go back there.
I don't want to go back there. Yeah.
So you work with very highly successful.
Yeah, let's talk about other people instead of me, like that, please. Because as much as I will, I don't know as much. I don't think. Yeah, let's
okay, all right. Yeah. You work with very successful, high-performing individuals, right?
Yeah.
So, what are some of the common struggles you see? And what I want to look at here is that very often from the outside, it looks like people have all their shit together, right? It's kind of like, look at him. He's so successful. He's, high performing. I'm not that. But I mean, with working with people who are highly successful and high performers.
Yep.
High performers. Are you seeing their struggles as well?
So, yeah, they'll share their struggles as well. So, confidentiality, I'm not going to speak about anybody's personal stuff, but every single person who comes into a coaching scenario that hires a coach who comes into coaching clubs because they have a challenge, or comes when I'm coaching with me and my team, people come to us because they're challenged. They don't come because they want to put an inch on the biceps. Or, they generally have sleep issues, they have health issues based on stress. They've got stress-induced insomnia. They're very, very busy, they're very time poor, they're very aware they need to be healthier because they've been sitting at a desk for the last 2 decades, 3 decades. They've got tight hips, tight ankles, tight shoulders, they're chair-shaped.
Chair-shaped.
Because you look at them and they're chair-shaped. Side on, they're chair-shaped. So then it's our job is to unravel it.
Yeah.
And so people come and get involved because they know they want to change, or they know they want to improve, or they've been referred. And they come and they all have struggles. They've all got challenges. And so I listen to Chris Williamson quite a lot, the Modern Wisdom podcast, and he talks about the insecure overachievers. Like not just high achievers, like overachievers. And most of them are really insecure. And people come with their challenges and they have their issues. Everybody does. Well, they share them. Some people do. Some people want to work through it, and some people just want to push past it. And that's each individual is different. But does every single person have something that they need to be working on? And and do the high achievers have more? I suppose yes and no. It just really depends on the individual. Everybody has something that they are working through, or something that they feel is in the way or holding them back, or preventing them from achieving a level of success in that space. And then it's about helping them to understand and work through that, and then come up with strategies to apply on the other side of that, allow them to break that pattern, or to develop a new pattern of behaviour.
One thing I often get is that, I'm just thinking of like what you describe is as your daily routine, right?
Yep.
Very early rising, exercise, eating well, all of the stuff. One of the things people often say to me is that, well, that's kind of boring because you lose that, that ability to just enjoy life, have that sleeping in, have a nice breakfast, go out for a meal, enjoy your alcohol, do all these things. Do you feel that you miss out on things like that by...
What about being healthy?
Yeah.
It's funny the way you're saying that, right? So that individual is judging you based on what they believe. Right, so if that individual wants to sleep in and have no structure, and that makes them feel amazing and they're really happy doing that, and sure, crack on, you go, if that's what's making you happy. But they're judging your situation based on what they perceive to be their truth in that space. Does that make sense?
Oh, it makes a lot of sense because actually
you're quite happy doing it.
Yeah, actually I like doing the things I do.
I don't really miss out on anything. Like I choose not to drink alcohol because I don't like the person I am with alcohol in my system. It's poisonous, and I choose not to do it. So I choose not to do that. But I have fun in many other ways. And I have balance in my life. Balance means equal measures, so there's not really many things in my life that are equal, but there are flow in between. I really enjoy food. I love food. I love burgers. I love barbecue pits. I love making my own pizzas. I love my outdoor kitchen. I love eating. I love sitting with my friends. I love feeding my friends. I love food.
Sounds like you are having...
I love food.
Sounds like you are having fun and joy.
Yeah, and do I make sure I have that in my life? Yes. Do I have extended periods of what people would probably perceive to be very disciplined, etc. etc. Yes. Why? Because it's right for me. Because it's in alignment with who I want to be. If that's not right for somebody else, or that's not right for you, then that's cool. Who am I to say that my way is the right way to do it? I'm only saying that my way is the right way for me to do it.
Yeah.
And absolutely. I'm happy in that space. I'm happy in my life with my rules and my regulations and my routine. But I also have a space for freedom, and I also have flexibility. I will chill out. Like on holiday, I don't get up early in the morning. I can get out of my bed at 8, 9 o'clock. Now, after a week, fair enough, I get annoyed with myself and I'm like, I just wasted loads of time here, big man, this is just ridiculous. But for the first 3 or 4 or 5 days,
you're like,
this is cool. Yeah, and I'll eat whatever I want, and we'll stay up and we'll watch box sets, and I'll have lazy days, and I'll completely come out of my normal routine.
Yeah.
But when I'm in coaching mode, or when I'm in, because I've got a lot of responsibilities, so I have to show up a specific way in order for me to be able to juggle everything. So I do, but then, so am I missing out on, well, what am I missing out on? I could be the older version of myself, right? Who couldn't manage life at all, so he had in a bottle or a bag or both,
exactly.
Right? I could not cope, couldn't cope.
Yeah.
And then I cope, and I'm able to do things that I really enjoy and manage my life. And in order for me to do that, I have to have a level of discipline.
Yeah.
But then, so I'll be missing out. No, it's better, I feel. But that's for me. And if it's better for you because you're doing what you love and you're happy doing that, then you do more of it. And if somebody doesn't like that or doesn't think that that's the right thing to do, then cool, you disagree. Okay, live your life your own way. Do your own things. Do what you want to do that makes you happy, content, whatever, if that's important for you, and let everybody else just kind of do what they want.
Okay.
But balance and flexibility.
Yeah, balance.
Or flexibility, I think. Flexibility. Have a bit of flexibility to not be too kind of
rigid. Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's quite good.
So I'm going to put you on the spot again. I don't know if you can answer this one or not. Have you got a nice coaching story for us? Have you got a story of
nice coaching story?
Yeah. Well, with one of your clients, obviously without breaching confidentiality, have you got a nice coaching story of transformation?
Yeah, there's loads. I don't know what.
What's the first one that comes to mind?
And specific coaching, like transformation in what sense? Male, female?
That doesn't matter. Just any nice story that.
Yeah, I've got many different clients who. So I've got some more mature clients. Yeah, so there's a client that I have who's kind of over the age of 65 and came into coaching after the age of 65 to work on improving mobility and flexibility and overall health and wellness, and then went on a journey of improving not only that, but then inspiring other people also to get involved as well, and encouraging that positive, that ripple effect, which at my core is what I want to do. I want to help people. Our brand promise is we teach people how to fall in love with fitness so it enhances the rest of their life experience. It's on the wall when you walk in the gym, and that's our purpose as a crew together. That's what we want to do. We want to teach people how to fall in love with fitness so it enhances the rest of their life experience. And these individuals come and their life starts to be enhanced through fitness. We're just the guides. So it's not us, it's them. They're going on a journey of self-exploration. They're going on their own personal journey with themselves, learning about themselves, and then they start to lighten, and they start to glow, and they start to change, and then people see that change, and then they also ask, so what is it you're doing? And at the core of it, I'm happy with this is going there because I wasn't sure how to answer the question. Right? Fitness is the transformation, fitness is the modality. Yeah. Physical fitness, mental fitness, emotional fitness, spiritual fitness. The four of them combined, put those together, transformation happens. And it's such a powerful transformation that it spreads. And people see the change, and they feel the energy, they see the energy, they see the shift, they see the change in posture, they see the higher vibration that people show up with, if you're kind of aware of that, and then they want to get involved in it. And then they pass it back.
Ripples out,
it's a ripple
right?
effect. It's a
Ripples out.
positive ripple effect of everybody inspiring each other to be able to get better and finding a way to be able to improve, to grow, to develop themselves. And for me, that transformation, all those transformations, every transformation is a beautiful thing to witness. And at the core of it all is fitness. It's people overcoming their own personal fear of thinking that they either don't deserve it or they're not good enough or they can't change, and coming into that space, embracing her energy. Fitness is embracing that feminine energy, but very powerful energy, and then starting the healing process and then learning to become physically better, which then makes you more mentally confident in yourself because you can feel the physical change, then your emotions start to change. And then you can grow if spirituality is important to you. I believe we're all spiritual beings having a human experience. So everybody is spiritual. Some people are aware of it and some people aren't. But physical fitness, mental fitness, emotional fitness, once we work on the three of those combined, fitness at the core, everything else starts to get better. Life becomes more manageable. The tougher parts aren't as tough. And then if you can then inspire other people to do the same, and then the ripple effect and then the knock-on effect.
Absolutely.
So that coaching story is that.
Yeah, I like that. And there's two things there. Number one is, first of all, you're never too old, right?
Never.
Because that's one thing I hear quite a lot. Well, I'm probably too old now to start that kind of thing. So you're never too old.
We've got people that come and see us in their 70s, who start in their 70s.
Exactly.
And if you're with an individual who knows what they're doing, then you know how to work with a client who comes to you in that age range, and you know what to do, then you comfortably can take that person on a journey for the next, 5, 10, 15 years.
Yeah. So that's the first thing. You're never too old. The second thing there is kind of who you hang out with, right? Who you spend your time with.
Yep.
Because when you start this process, and like you say, you're coming into the gym, and there are others around you who are also on that journey, and they're everybody's kind of in that same journey and that wanting to achieve the same thing. It raises the energy.
Yep.
So the people that you surround yourself with and choose to spend your time with is really important as well. So, Davie, if people want to find out more about working with your team,
dmcfitness.co.uk is our website.
We'll drop some links into the bottom here as well.
I'm not very active. I was active on social media up until lockdown, and then during lockdown, just when this well spent time reflecting and being kind of becoming more self-aware. I think many of us did anyway. I just decided to kind of step back from that. I just found it. I found the space. If I'm honest with you, I just found it hyper competitive and just kind of it was becoming more of a toxic situation for me. So social media, we're on social media. I'm not massively active on social media myself. I just choose not to be. But for people who want to see what we do and look at what we do, the website, the testimonials are on there, the stories on there, direct access, Davie at dmcfitness.co.uk, or come through the website if people are interested in finding out more about the story or more about us. We're in Glasgow, and we also have a unit in Larwick as well.
Perfect. Well, that's been fantastic, and it's been wonderful to have you here in the physical flesh body.
I'm sorry, you get nervous, but yeah.
Yeah, well.
Thank you very much for having me and also for asking questions, conversations.
Yeah, and one other thing is if you're listening to this and if there's anybody you recognize that may benefit from listening to this, please do share this with anybody who you feel might resonate with us and who might benefit from it. Thank you, Davie.
Thank you for having me.